name is Jason Treharne and I'm the director of the Treharne Group.
So Jason, you saved us from the problem of how to charge laptops and cameras when we're in camp and off-grid. What exactly is the name of the piece of kit you gave us and what does it do?
The piece of kit is actually a power pack made from second life batteries. Its purpose is to give you power where there isn't any, so up to 2.5 kilowatts over 1 hour.
And why have the cells been taken out of a car if it still has use as a battery?
The waste hierarchy is that if it can be reused, then it's not waste. The car might have been written off, the battery might have been damaged, but then they come to us as waste. We test those batteries with our company EV Recycling. Then we can make products from those.
What's the cost difference between buying all the cells new to make that battery pack and getting them second-hand from a vehicle?
You're looking at about £1,500 for a 2.5 kilowatt hour battery. But a second life battery could be just a couple of £100, even £50 depending on what it's been used for.
On this expedition we've met quite a lot of people who are cynical about the future of electric as our method of transport. What would you say to those who think that electric travel isn't the way to go because of the amount of battery waste?
Well, to those I'd say, well, we're at the beginning of a revolution and at the end of another. And if you look at where we are with where petrol's come, the problems aren't as big as you'd imagine they are. So going forward, infrastructure is one of the things that has to change, but like all engineering, problems are there to be solved. So this battery waste is exactly what you need to build the infrastructure and decarbonise the transportation industry and other industries as well, so decarbonising the grid. You can achieve so much with the so-called battery waste because if it's not used in a vehicle, there's so many other things it can be used for.
Can you give us some examples of what other sorts of applications there might be for an end-of-use car battery?
If you imagine a small trailer towed behind a food van or an ice cream van, for instance, we have a 60 kilowatts unit in development which they can plug into and it'll power their van for 10, 15 hours even, with just a single charge from a 32 amp socket in the evening. And then you get to the bigger things then for fuel stations are now going over to charge infrastructure, so they'll provide lots of charging points for cars. But the infrastructure for the grid isn't there.
And what about applications specifically for the marine world?
The marine side really picked up on it and there's a huge demand from yachting associations and various event organisers, marine conservation and tourism. There's eco-tourism now. We already have orders for eco-tourist boats and we've developed the outboards for that application with the batteries that we produce Second Life. If batteries become too heavy and too big, and then we have hydrogen solutions and we have a hydrogen fuel cell which we've developed with Hyundai.
So all this work on batteries and the reuse of batteries will also help us in a transition to hydrogen.
Grey hydrogen is a necessary evil, I think, to give us the breathing space to create the infrastructure to use green hydrogen and produce green hydrogen. And the whole production of green hydrogen, you are going to need the batteries that are considered otherwise waste in a second life application. It'll help us then make that transition in the future to hydrogen fuel cells and electric, which are combined.
So the question we're really trying to answer with this whole expedition is, if Britain drove the Industrial Revolution, and we've all benefited from that, could we drive the Green Revolution too? How optimistic do you feel that we can do that? It's
really exciting times, and a lot of what we're working on is sometimes 15 years in the future. And the engineers in this country at the moment and things that are happening, I have every confidence we are going to change the face of this technology and the future going forward, hopefully.
So what would you ask of UK leaders or even global leaders, particularly at COP26, to help drive the electric revolution?
Well, first of all, I'd say don't overlook the smaller companies because a lot of the innovation is coming from the smaller companies, but we need the bigger companies as well. And I think this concerted approach with some policy to ease the transition into this technology and some investment from government.